Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I thought I'd talk about my sexuality, my kind of coming in, coming out story, whatever you want to call it. So I grew up in a male household. My mum tragically died when I was 4 years old. So I definitely grew up without that woman figure in my household or being around. I wouldn't change a thing, but I think my personality these days, as in my outlook on life, maybe sometimes the way I dress, all that kind of stuff kind of comes from me growing up in a male household. So yeah, my story of my sexuality, today I can be very open and honest about it. A couple of years ago, that was definitely not the case. I was someone who, sometimes you hear stories of people who classify themselves or identify themselves as being gay or bisexual, lesbian, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you identify yourself as they knew it when they were young, and I didn't. I can look back now and honestly be like, when I was a teenager or in high school, I never really had a solid relationship. I was very impulsive with men. It was definitely, like I've said in my previous videos, a reflection of what was going on for me inside, rather than a real normal functioning healthy relationship, flirt, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I didn't really have that. So I think it's due to I didn't really know what I wanted in a relationship or who I liked. I knew growing up that I was always definitely more intrigued in older women. Not like older, but a couple years older than me. I would definitely rather look at a woman's figure than a man's figure. I would just feel more comfortable, but I only knew that, could be open and knew that a couple years ago. For a couple years now. So yeah, I didn't really know, and then when I was about 21, 22, I met this guy, and he was really lovely, but due to me being in a really unwell state, it just didn't work out because we couldn't have a normal functioning healthy relationship due to what was going on for me and living in crisis and addiction and so forth. So a while after I met this girl, and that was the first time I was definitely open about being, intimate, as in cuddly, kissy, with a woman, and that was something that was really challenging for me. A lot of you might know, but some of you might not know, how hard it was for me being comfortable with these feelings that were going on inside of me, and my heart and my head. And I had times where I just couldn't cope with all this confusion, and it was massive. It was me after 21 years just being like, I'm actually comfortable with someone with the same sex as me, and not a straight relationship. And yeah, so that was something that was challenging. I used to self-harm from it. I would often be on suicide watch. I remember days of when I was living in resi care, just smashing my head against walls and yelling and screaming, because it wasn't easy for me. A lot of people who were around me at the time, family, friends or friends, would say, they thought it was just another episode of my mental health or another phase. And I can see kind of where they were coming from, but it was definitely not the case for me. And I haven't really ever been able to be honest with being like that actually hurt me more than it did good. But it was more, I think, so out of the blue, and because my life was so it was just out of control, they just expected that, and they just presumed, oh, this is just another thing. So since then, I've definitely been a lot more open with liking women. I'm obviously married to the woman of my dreams, and now I feel very comfortable saying that I wouldn't identify something as I wouldn't put myself into a group and be like, that's who I am. I would probably relate more to pansexual, which means I like woman, man, whoever you are. I'm more attracted to your personality, and I don't really love you or find you attractive because you're a man or woman. It's more who you are as a person and your personality, and just the love that I have. I don't often think that I'm something, and I don't say, oh, you know, I'm definitely a lesbian or whatever. I don't really like having a label, I think, because I grew up having so many different labels. So I'm just comfortable with who I am today, and, you know, I just wanted to jump on here and say how hard it is for someone to come out as, you know, be open with others of what they're feeling, and especially with sexuality. I think because it's still such a thing that people judge, but judge by actions, judge by looks, judge by your identity, and that's something that can really, really hurt our community. But I think it's definitely changing, thankfully. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on here and express, like, that period of time that I kind of came into myself was really, really hard. It wasn't easy. I didn't know growing up. You know, it took me a while and a lot of exploration and curiosity and experimental behavior to be like, oh, this is who I am and this is who I'm comfortable with. So yeah, it's not easy. I can definitely relate to a lot of stories that I've read or people that I've met. And I think just being true to yourself and realizing, you know, it is actually the biggest way to realize, oh my God, this is okay and this is normal for me, and you know, just my happiness is the most important thing to me and to a lot of people. So being in a place where I can be like, this is what I identify as and I freaking love it, is a really awesome thing. But I never thought it a few years ago, and I did go through a really hard time coming out. But so if you are struggling, if you're in that period of, I don't know what I like, but I think I like this, but I don't think others will accept that, or definitely listen to yourself. Definitely get some support behind you. And if that's not your family and friends, if that's professional support or groups or pages or community groups, just do it, because you really need support during that time. I feel like I wish I had more, but I definitely isolated myself because I found it really hard. And I did take it out on myself because I thought I was doing something wrong, but I'm not. And yeah, that's my story of me coming out, a very, very brief story of me coming out and how I coped with my sexuality. And now I'm very, very proud of who I am today. But it did take so many years to realise this is what I like and this is what I want. And I'm just grateful that I got to that place. So yeah, I will speak to you in my next YouTube video. Hope you have a lovely day. And if you ever need to talk, there are support groups out there. And also there's me. So yeah, peace. All right, thanks guys.